Hello everybody, I hope you're doing great. In the video today, the first thing I'm gonna do is show you how to use cards to play shoes tactics instead of using a d20 in a side sheet. We call that the card variant. Okay, now let's get started. Let's see, we're gonna start with the very first round of the game. You can see that it is a gray flag. Okay, cross it off. So a gray flag means that the arrows of the enemy will not hit you this round. Okay. Uh, if it is the red flag, the arrows will hit you and you will lose stamina. So the next step will be rolling the d20. Okay, so this is what we normally do in a shoes tactics game. Rolling a d20 and based on the result, we select 3 out of 6 cards shown on the side sheet of the game. Okay, these cards will give you the orders as well as the scheme for you to use during a round. But in the card variant, you only need to print and cut out these 6 cards to use. Okay, here are the cards, you can see it, right? Okay, these are the exact same cards as in the side sheet. So basically, it means that you won't need the side sheet anymore if you're playing with the card variant. So instead of rolling the d20 in the roll the dice step, you just need to shuffle the 6 cards and reveal the top 3 cards. Okay. And now you need to choose one card for its bottom part, and the other 2 will be used for their top parts. The top parts provides you with orders, and the bottom part provides you with a scheme. Let's say if I pick this receiving aids card for the scheme, I will turn it sideways like this. Okay. So remember to pay attention to the weather of the scheme you choose, which is the sun right now. Okay. And after I have used the scheme already, I will just flip the card like this. Okay. It gives me a coin or a wine. So if this card is flipped, it means the scheme has been used. Okay, and now if I use the orders from the other 2 cards, how do I keep track of which one has been used or not? So I will use the scheme card to cover up an order after I have used it. Okay, now I'm gonna give you an example. So when I use this order number 1 here, I'm gonna use the scheme card to cover up that order. Okay, just like that. It means that the order number 1 has been used. Okay, and now you only have 3 orders left to use. Number 2, number 3, and number 4, right there. Okay, now let me give you another example where things are a bit harder. Okay, let's say after I use the order number 4, right, I will use the scheme card to cover it up. Alright, and after that, when I use the order number 2 right here, okay, I will place it like this. There you are. Okay, so it means you have used 2 others, number 4 and number 2. Okay, and now you only have number 1 and number 3 left to use. Okay, and that is a quick demo of how you can use cards to play shoes tactics instead of the side sheet. But remember that during the game you will gain surprise gifts, so you still need the d20 to do the rolls for the surprise gifts. So you will still need to prepare a d20 before playing the game. However, in case you don't want to move the cards around too much, which can be a little bit fiddly for some of you, okay? So you can prepare some tokens, at least 3 tokens, to cover up the orders after you use them. For example, here I have a token. Okay, so after I use the order number 3 right there, I will cover it up like this. Okay, so it means I have used it. And for the scheme, you still need to rotate the card sideways like this to signify that it is the scheme. And that's it for the card variant. Okay, so next up, I'm gonna talk about spies. Spy is a new type of soldier. From chapter 3, instead of having the infantrymen, we will have spies. Spies give you a brand new way to attack and pave your way across the enemy field. So now let's have a closer look into how spies work. You can see there is the spy track in the drill ground area. Now, each spy has dotted border around it. It means that when you gain the spy, you do not cross it off and use it immediately, but you circle it like this to save for later use. Just like the throwing dagger in the game. Okay, you can use it later whenever you want. Okay, and spies cannot be put into tactics like the infantryman or horseman because they work like tactics themselves. But when you attack the enemy field with a spy, you can only destroy one field box compared to multiple boxes like a tactic. For example, here I spend an order number 4 to launch an attack with a spy here. Okay, so I can target the third box of row number 4 and destroy it. But instead of crossing the box off normally like this, I will draw a heart shape into the box to destroy it, like this. So whenever you see that a box has been destroyed with a heart shape, you know that that box had been destroyed with a spy. Okay, and when you cross off this icon in the spy track, you will unlock a special track called the beauty trap track right here. Okay, so you can spend an order number 1 to cross off a box in this track. This track will interact with the heart shapes you have drawn on the enemy field. So, for example, I spend an order number 1 to cross off the box on the right in the beauty trap track. You can see that there's an arrow pointing to the right, which means now you destroy a box to the right of an existing heart shape on the enemy field by drawing a heart like this. That box is considered to have just been destroyed with a spy. And you might be wondering why we have to mark the boxes destroyed with spies differently with heart shapes like that. Yes, it does have a function. For example, I want to attack the enemy field with this horseman tactic. So when I count range for this attack, I will skip the boxes that have been destroyed with spies. Which means if I spend an order number 4, I can target row number 5 without having to spend any gold to boost the attack. And the final thing that I want to share with you today is about the Sun's Landing section. This section is like a bank from which you may borrow several items and later you have to pay back with interest. You can see that the first row of the Sun's Landing section here, there are 5 blue orbs containing 5 items that you can borrow. You can see that you can borrow wine, gold, the gold coin, here it is, and spy, and any order or a small horseman tactic. Okay, and in later rounds of the game, you will have to pay back the things that they demand on the second row. Right, now let me give you an example. If you want to borrow the coin over here, okay, the gold coin, all right, so you will take in it and you immediately gain it for use, right? Okay, you gain a gold, circling it here. Okay, so you can notice that there is a number 2. It means that from the current round, you will count 2 rounds later. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, and you will have to write the letter of that column, which is column B, right there. There it is. Okay, so it means that when you come to round 3 of the game, at the end of the preparation phase, before the action phase, you will have to pay back the things that are required in column B in the Sun's Landing section. The things you have to pay back is shown in the red orb in the middle. which are 2 gold here. And if you cannot or don't want to pay back at that moment, you have to suffer the penalty here. So we have the last row shows the penalties. The middle row shows the things you have to pay back, and the first row shows the things you can borrow. And the number right here shows the deadline, like how many rounds from the current round will you have to pay things back. Okay, and that's all for the video, guys. Thanks for watching, and if you have any further questions, you can put it in the comment section of the Kickstarter page or in the Facebook group. Thank you so much for your support, and have a nice day.